have been reflecting recently about one important question. Are we ruining our kids' lives? Are we ruining their childhood?
And it's not just us that reflect upon that. In fact, the collective internet as a whole seems sometimes to ask us that question. It's a beautiful day for a date hike. Let's just say that when you can get away, you get away. It doesn't matter what it looks like
Rain or
outside.
shine, you take the date.
That's right. Kristen and I are out hiking today on a trail that I've done with both Chloe and Cinder a couple of times, but Kristen's never been on this one.
Today we're going to talk about whether RVing full-time with your kids is a good idea, the pros and cons, and whether it's going to ruin your kid's life.
Yeah, and we decided to do this on our date time because we don't have the kids with us, so we can talk about them.
I'm curious what you talk about on your date nights. Do you talk about your kids?
We've been traveling all around the United States for the last 5 years, roughly, in a travel trailer, and then recently upgraded to a 44-foot toy hauler. And we do have 3 kids that come along with us. So we have Chloe that's 8, we've got Ethan that is now 11. And then Mr. Teenager 13 is Aaron.
Yes, but when we started RVing, they were 3, 8, and 9.
Right, they've come a long way, just as we have.
Yes.
All right, are we gonna start with the good or the bad?
I think we should do the bad news first, and
Okay.
and we'll close it out with the good news, and then we'll talk about whether we think we're ruining our kids' lives.
Con number 1. Well, you know, I actually asked the teenager earlier this morning what one of his biggest problems with full-time living on the road was. And for him, right now, I think it fluctuates. I think he would answer differently on different days. But
Yeah,
right now, it's I don't have buddies that I can hang out with on a frequent, regular basis.
Right.
You know, he misses having friends across the street that he can go and say, okay, I'm going over to, you know, these guys' house for the afternoon. I would say that is a legit, you know, concern of ours.
Our middle child, Ethan, he's a social butterfly, and he can make friends with anybody, and he loves doing that. And I think there's some kids that like to just hang out with a bunch of people, and there's other kids that they grow up with like one friend or 2 friends that's like their best, closest friend.
Yeah, that was me.
And I think that's what Aaron really misses. And he has friends that we've made across the country.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. But it's different on the road.
True, true. One is the space that a house affords. And that's like,
The privacy.
yeah, while we have done the best that we can to set up their rooms with the curtains and space with their own beds, you know, they do sometimes wish that they had more space for themselves. And I know in our house in Phoenix, they have that, and they do appreciate it.
I think the next con is activities and sports. A lot of people will ask us like, well, what about sports? Aren't you going to put them in sports? And honestly, our kids have never really shown interest in sports, and that's fine with us. And so we have never really worried about that. But I know there's families out there that do have their kids in sports. Our kids are really active though. They do all kinds of things outside. They love to mountain bike and rock climb and hike with us. But the organized team thing is very difficult on the road. And we have put them in things like gymnastics and martial arts. Dance. But it's not for very long because we're only in a spot for 3 months at a time. And we do have that advantage as a travel nurse family.
Yeah. Okay, we want to touch base on some other things that I'm not going to call cons, but that we're going to call perceived fears. The first one being safety. How are you going to keep your kids safe while you're out on the road and traveling all over the place? Because, you know, campgrounds are dangerous, and, you know, rest stops are dangerous, and kids get kidnapped all the time and stuff like that. We got that from a lot of people. My wonderful wife said, you know what, I'm going to go out and actually research it, and made an entire video on whether or not it's a legitimate concern. And I'm talking specifically about like kidnapping and some of that more extreme type stuff. And you might be surprised. Go check it out up here.
No, that way.
Up here. Go check it out up here. Watch the video. It's totally worth watching, and you might be surprised by some of the statistics and real facts.
Another perceived con or perceived fear that we faced and we've kind of since overcome. But people still point it out all the time, and that is stability. Family, household stability has nothing to do with the place that you're at. In fact, you can look up all kinds of definitions of stability online. It always has to do with how the child feels and how they're connected to their family and to their parents. We have a very close-knit family, and I'm not concerned about the stability at all.
My personal favorite, and the one that we are hit with by far the most, is socialization. Your kids will not be socialized properly. Where we're at currently, in a lot of places in the past, we have new visitors coming to a park or wherever we're at weekly. When our children see other children, it doesn't matter if they speak the same language or not. That has not stopped them in the past, regardless of whether or not they speak any language. There is a universal understanding about play that is beautiful to watch happen.
Now that we've totally convinced you to take your kids RVing full-time with all the cons,
Right.
let's talk about the pros, because we wouldn't still be here 5 years later if there weren't more pros than there are cons.
Absolutely.
So the first one is that our kids make friends with everyone. Diversity is amazing, and it's not available when you just are like in the same place all the time and you never leave that area.
That's right.
You just don't know what you don't know, and it has been so amazing watching our kids hang out with all different kinds of kids, because to them, kids are kids. Humans are humans.
That's right. Race and, social economic background, it does not matter.
No,
They will
age,
play with
religion,
everyone.
it doesn't matter.
Yep. And it's fun just to see that go right out the window. And, that's their socialization, and that combats that whole thing for me. Is my kids are socialized maybe now more than ever.
There were about 12 kids playing in the pool. They just started playing games that organized the entire pool, and everybody participated. They played this game where it was like Never Have I Ever Pool Edition, and if you hadn't done it, you'd have to jump in the pool. And it was so fun because they lined up on the pool to where the shallow end kids could jump in the shallow end because they couldn't swim very well. It was so inclusive. They made sure that everyone could participate and set it up in such a way that no one was left out, and it was beautiful.
All right, I want to bring up capability, and I'm going to also tie this in a little bit with independence. Oh my gosh, you're going to let your kids go play on the playground at the RV park, and you're not going to stand there and watch them. Yeah, I let them go play. Now, I will say, we don't do this with every place that we go to. You kind of get a feel for it, but especially if it's one like the one that we're in currently, where we're going to stay for a little bit longer period of time, we get to know the people and even some of the longer term people that are there like we are. Yeah, my kids just go and
go play and they go explore.
Then they learn to be more independent. It's okay to go outside and not be afraid of everybody and everything, because I feel like in our culture we kind of foster fear a little bit too much.
They also know that we trust them.
Yeah.
And we built that trust with them. More than just their own capabilities is our capabilities too, and them witnessing us learning a whole new thing. We didn't know what we were doing when we started RVing, and we're constantly troubleshooting things in the RV. And
Stuff breaks.
You have to just roll with it, and it's an excellent thing to pass on to your kids. One of the most obvious ones is just the ability for them to get out and learn, by hands-on learning and going to see things and visit places. I mean, if we were back in the house, there's no way we'd be able to take 1,000 vacations every year. And frequently, at least once per week, we are going out and doing something and experiencing something every single week and learning new things. So that is the best and most obvious pro of all.
Yep.
So the question still remains, are we ruining their childhood? I'm not gonna lie, I still think about it sometimes.
Yeah.
We both
it's still a legit concern.
Yeah. We both grew up in the public school system, and we turned out fine. We found each other there. We're high school sweethearts.
20 years this month.
We recognize the benefits of public school and a normal childhood. Also recognize that there are a lot of benefits to the way that we're doing things. Yeah. And I don't think that either one is right or wrong. Yeah. Just like every other parent, we frequently have to evaluate whether we're doing the right thing for our kids, and
there's a lot of knocking on wood and crossing of fingers and lots of prayer.
All right, that's all we have for you today. We're getting drenched.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's so much fun.
We
We're
made
gonna go
it.
get coffee.
We made it, and we're gonna head out now and
Yes.
and head towards some warm coffee somewhere. So
And then go check on our kids.
they're fine.
Our teenager.
He's watching them.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, guys. Thank you for being here with us on this beautiful day, and we've enjoyed filming this. You look gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
I love you.
I love you too.
Anyway, you guys, we'll catch you out there. We'll see you later. Leave a thumbs up. That always helps the algorithm. Thank you for subscribing if you're new and leaving comments.
We'll see you out there.